Finally returning to their homes, showered the prince with love and applause as he greeted them. They once again offered their precious shells to the prince and reconstructed the rainbow bridge of old. As he watched the scene unfold, the prince could not help but be touched by its beauty.
Moved by everyone's happiness, the prince stepped onto the rainbow bridge and took a good look at all the friends who had gone on the journey with him. There stood the traveler, goddess Paimon, Fremine, and... Huh? Where's the last person? The prince looked frantically around, but could not find the person he wanted to see most. At that moment, the person suddenly appeared on the other side of the bridge. She walked towards him with a smile and slowly lifted her veil.
The prince could not hold back his tears. He recognized then that the mysterious person that had been by his side the whole time was none other than his mother. Surya walked across the bridge and placed the crown above the prince's head. She smiled down upon him as she said, "My prince, my king, you shall never, ever need to feel lonely again."
That's the end of the story, Surya.
Thank you. Thank you all. I am so sorry, my child. Maman should have spent more time with you. Did you hear the story? You'll never have to feel lonely again. Mama loves you too.
What's happening? Is Surya talking to Thelxie?
Quick, put on my diving helmet. There's a transcription module in it that's compatible with Thelxie's output signals. You should be able to use it to understand what Thelxie's saying.
Mama loves you too.
But I love you more, Maman.
What? Did you see something?
Maman, I'm getting a little sleepy. If it's time for bed, can you hum a lullaby to me again?
Of course, my dearest child. As long as you want to hear it, Mama will always hum for you.
Thank you, Maman. Your lullaby has always been my favorite. Now that I've heard it, I can return to my dream and to the kingdom of water imps in peace.
My poor darling. Please don't forget. I will always love you. My love is greater than the entire distance between here and the kingdom of water imps.
I won't forget, Maman. And so is my love for you. Greater than the entire distance between here and the kingdom of water imps. Good night, Maman.
Traveler, Paimon, you're here.
Fremine, why did you call us in such a hurry? Did you hear something from Zuria? Oh, if it's not good news, Paimon doesn't want to hear it.
Don't worry, it's definitely great news. The Madame came here for a visit just now with her doctor. Color has returned to her cheeks, and she sounded full of energy as well. She said she'd like to return to the court to continue hosting the art exhibit. But this time, she'll work with her doctor to exhibit some picture books related to the illness. Of course, Thelxie's fantastic adventures and the guidance therapy will be included in the exhibit as well. She'd like to use her experience to help others.
That's wonderful! So it wasn't bad news after all.
Mm-hmm. Here, please take this picture book with you. The Madame wanted you to have it. If, at some point in the future, you were to run into someone with similar troubles, she hopes the book would be of use to you.
But this is her son's story, right? Is it really okay to give the book to us?
Don't worry, it's just a copy. She still has the original. It's extremely important to her.
Alright, then there's no problem. It feels good knowing we've contributed to something important. Paimon definitely didn't expect the fantasy adventure to be so useful. Paimon was a little worried about how everything would turn out. After all, fantasy is just fantasy.
Paimon, do you know what the Madame said? She said that at the moment when she placed the crown on Thelxie's head, she felt like she really saw something beautiful. Her child had returned, and he told her that he loved her. She also said that was when she was finally able to bid farewell to her son. She felt like at that moment, she was healed by some mystical power, and she was filled with courage from head to toe.
Oh, really? But could that just be another part of her fantasy?
Perhaps. But if fantasy is just fantasy, and the fantasy world is not real, then how could it still grant us these powers that we can continue to use in the real world?
But what else could it be?
A descent of the fairy tale world into the real world. At that time, the wondrous fairy tale temporarily became reality and influenced real things in our world. That has to be what happened. You saw it too, didn't you?
What? That can't be what happened, right? There's just no way. Wouldn't it be like a miracle if that really happened?
Yes, I suppose that would be a miracle. I hope that everyone who's found themselves in a dark place would be able to see something beautiful and experience a miracle for themselves.